R.K.S. Shera sir, Mr. Kiran Chopra sir, Mr. Umang Mishra sir. Welcome to all of you. I would also like to welcome Ms. Shefali Raj ma'am, Managing Director, PSIT, Dr. Shivani Kapoor ma'am, Director, PSIT College of Higher Education, Dr. APS Bhadoria sir, Dean, PSIT College of Higher Education, Ms. Karima Gupta ma'am, Head of Department, BBA, all faculty members, students and all the external participants. A very warm welcome to all of you. Talking about a topic, changing world scenario and India's vision for self-reliance, as we all know, by the launch of Swadeshi 2.0 and Atmanirbhar Bharat, we all are looking forward for rescuing the country from the ravages of the pandemic and a stronger position of India in the long run in the global market. Looking for import substitution, serving our markets with high quality goods, boosting our exports is a welcome step. Indian companies could be the leaders of the world by catering for ourselves and to the needs of the world. The onus now lies on us by collaborating with the targets of the government. Further, I would like to welcome Dr. Shivani Kapoor ma'am, Director, PSIT College of Higher Education, to take over and begin with the webinar. Ma'am, please.
Thank you so much, Jafisha ma'am. Changing world scenario and India's vision for self-reliance is the topic for the day. We all know that India will fire on all cylinders to achieve Atmanirbharta or self-reliance and could offer tax swaps, procurement preferences in the government contracts for domestically produced goods, while imposing stringent non-tariff barriers to discourage imports. Measures for sectors such as pharmaceuticals, furniture, and leather are in focus, and states could be asked to revamp their procurement process to prefer local manufacturing. The country has begun work on a continuity plan that includes cutting down import dependence, especially from China, by focusing aggressively on substitution while improving safety, compliance, and quality goods to gain global market share. The Commerce and Indian Industry Ministry has identified medical textile, electronics, plastic, and toys as some sectors where local manufacturing and exports can be promoted in the next 3 months, or we can say phase 1, while phase 2 products include gems and jewelry, pharma and steel in the next 6 months. The upcoming measures could include tax incentives and other support measures to make local manufacturing more competitive globally. Support measures are also likely to aid local manufacturers build brands globally. Swadeshi focus was not just an ideological concept presented. It is a serious thought that would be followed up with concrete steps. And for the same reason, we have arranged this webinar to have a discussion on the topic. And we have Air Marshal Dr. R.C. Bajpayee ji with us, Professor Gurmeet Singh, Vice Chancellor, Pondicherry University with us, Air Marshal R.K.S. Shera sir, Mr. Kiran Chopra, Chairman and Managing Director of an Indo-German joint venture based in Lucknow, Chopra Retech Rubber Products Limited, and Mr. Umang Mishra, Associate Editor, Dainik Jagran, iNext. I welcome you all to the forum today. To start with, we have Air Marshal Dr. R.C. Bajpayee with us. He was a former Air Officer Commander-in-Chief, Maintenance Command in Indian Air Force. Sir has also received awards like Ati Vishisht Seva Medal and Param Vishisht Seva Medal from the President of India. He started his journey in the year 1960. I read his profile in Hindi to add glory to his wisdom. एयर मार्शल डॉक्टर रमेश चंद्र वाजपेयी जी ने जून 1960 में भारतीय वायु सेना की टेक्निकल सिग्नल्स ब्रांच में कमीशन प्राप्त किया और 36 वर्षों से अधिक उत्कृष्ट सेवा के पश्चात अक्टूबर 1996 में एयर मार्शल के रैंक में मेंटेनेंस कमांड के एयर ऑफिसर कमांडिंग इन चीफ के पद से सेवानिवृत्त हुए। अपने कार्यकाल में फील्ड और स्टाफ के महत्वपूर्ण पदों को पर अपना योगदान दिया। एयरफोर्स की प्रथम और सबसे बड़ी मेंटेनेंस यूनिट को कमांड करने का सौभाग्य प्राप्त हुआ। कमांड हेडक्वार्टर्स में प्रिंसिपल स्टाफ ऑफिसर के पदों पर कार्य किया। चीन और पाकिस्तान के युद्धों में उनकी सहभागिता रही। एयर हेडक्वार्टर में कार्यरत रहते हुए इलेक्ट्रॉनिक इंटेलिजेंस सेल को स्थापित किया। रक्षा मंत्रालय में रहते हुए अवकाश प्रोग्राम की शुरुआत की और चीफ प्रोग्राम डायरेक्टर के पद पर कार्य किया। रक्षा के क्षेत्र में आत्मनिर्भरता के पक्षधर रहे हैं। रडार, कम्युनिकेशन, जहाज आदि के उपकरणों का तथा उनके रखरखाव की स्वदेशी तकनीक विकसित करके विदेशी मुद्रा की बचत की। एमटेक कोर्स के दौरान देश की पहली फेज एरे विकसित की जो बाद में एक नए रूप में स्वदेशी इंफ्रा रडार में काम आई। वायुसेना में निर्मित होने के पश्चात यूपीएससी में एडवाइजरी रहे, साथ ही एनएसआईटी इंजीनियरिंग कॉलेज में गेस्ट लेक्चरर के रूप में कार्यरत रहे। लगभग गत कई सालों से सेंट्रल सर्विसेज के अभ्यर्थियों को यूपीएससी में साक्षात्कार के लिए मार्गदर्शन करते रहे हैं। वे विभिन्न सामाजिक संस्थाओं जैसे पूर्व सैनिक परिषद, फोरम फॉर इंटीग्रेटेड नेशनल सिक्योरिटी, फोरम फॉर अवेयरनेस ऑफ नेशनल सिक्योरिटी आदि में अध्यक्षीय पदों पर रहकर अपना योगदान देते रहे हैं। शिक्षा संस्थानों में जाकर विद्यार्थियों की राष्ट्रीय सुरक्षा के विषय में तथा उनकी भूमिका और उत्तरदायित्व के बारे में चर्चा करके उनके योगदान के लिए प्रेरित करते रहे हैं। सुरक्षा संबंधी विषयों पर गोष्ठी और सेमिनार आयोजित करके आम जनता को जागृत करते रहे हैं। We are blessed to have you with us today, sir. I would like you to start with your vision on the same theme. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Shivani ji, and good morning to everybody. During the next 15 minutes, I'll briefly discuss the subject of today, giving a brief background as to how our neighborhood is there, how have we proposed to be independent in the field of technology, medicine, healthcare, and other areas which have been enumerated by Madam Shivani ji. You all know that India, as a peaceful country, has tried to coexist with its neighbors and tried to promote and progress the principle of non-violence. However, our two immediate neighbors, China and Pakistan, have been hostile to us and from time to time have been waging war against us. China attacked us 4 times, 1947, 65, 71, and the latest was in Kargil in 1999. And thereafter, it has been trying to destabilize us through the terrorism and other warfare activities. On the other hand, China, on another front, has been trying to capture all its neighboring lands, whether it is Mongolia, whether it is Tibet, whether it is any other country for that matter. Today it has got disputes over land territory with about 23 countries. 12 are the neighbors where it has got boundary disputes and is trying to grab their land. In 1962, it attacked us, whether it was provoked by the Tibetan, when it occupied Tibet immediately after its independence, and we gave shelter to Dalai Lama, or it was his ambition to rule over the entire nation and become the superpower. Whatever may be the reason, we were attacked in 1962, and because of our policies at that time and our ill preparedness, where our soldiers were not properly clothed, ammunition was not there, weapons were not there, but still we fought with our 303 rifles with clothing, and the shoes were only canvas shoes. And in the winter season, on the high altitudes, we fought bravely, and a lot of our soldiers became martyrs, and we were defeated in that particular 1962 war because of our own policies, where our leaders feared that if they make our army stronger, our defense forces stronger, probably they might take over, as it has been happening in the neighboring country, Pakistan. Now, that's why it was one of the reasons that our forces were not prepared so well as they should have been. But thereafter, as you know, in all the wars with Pakistan was very badly defeated. Though still they are trying to carry out terrorist activities, but we are giving them the fitting reply. Now, China, its basic policy has been Mao Zedong related that we have taken over Tibet and will take over 5 states of India, namely Ladakh, Nepal, Bhutan, Sikkim, and Arunachal Pradesh. And to achieve that objective and in the pursuit of that goal, from time to time, China has been nibbling into our land, whether it was in the Ladakh region or in the Arunachal Pradesh. And recently, in 2017, in the Doklam, you are all aware of what happened there. China never honored agreements which were signed in 93, 95, and thereafter in 2000 area, but they have been trying to deceive us. Pakistan basically has been an expansionist nation, as I mentioned earlier, and with that aim, it has been trying to get our land, nibbling into our territory from time to time. And once it was defeated in Doklam, then they faced a humiliation at that particular point. That is one of the aspects why what happened in Galwan Valley is the cause. Second cause was that this pandemic, COVID-19, which was a creation of China itself and which destroyed the economy of entire world, and a lot of casualties had taken place. Lots of people died, and even today they are dying, and the whole world is infected by that. So it has destroyed the economy of all other nations. At the same time, it is destroying its own economy. Now, just to divert the attention from the public, because he was facing the present president, he was facing the not the revolt, but kind of problem with his own nationals, as well as the political and economic problems, tried to divert their attention towards India by waging a war against, I should call it war because it was, of course, face-to-face skirmishes, they call it, but they were prepared, they had amassed their forces all along the border, I should say, but in the Galwan Valley, in that Galwan Valley, they had concentrated their forces and tried to take over our areas. The other provocation was that we had built a road 255 kilometers in length from Darbuk via Shiok River to Daulat Oldi Beg, DOB as it is called. We had made the road, and that was a very vantage thing for us because it reduced our travel time for logistic support. And at the same time, we were having vantage points on the route so that we could monitor the activities of China, which China never wanted. And that's how you know what happened. They killed about 20 soldiers. But when we retaliated and broke the neck of more than these 20 people of those Chinese, that created a fear in the minds of Chinese soldiers, and they felt nervous. Thereafter, through diplomatic pressures, and we never let down our forces and our preparedness. We were given free hand by our present Prime Minister. The policies were totally different. India was not what it was in 1962. And that's how it brought back China to the knees and they started withdrawing. Today they are also withdrawing, but certainly we can't believe and trust China, which has been deceptively acting all along throughout these periods, and we should be very careful about that, and we'll maintain our vigil all along the border, not only in the Galwan area, but elsewhere, whether it is to the army, to the air force, to the navy, all our forces are ready, and I can assure our nation that yes, we are fully prepared and will not allow even 1 inch of our land to be occupied by China or any other country. Although they are fomenting this trouble all along the border, but we are prepared for it. Now, how it has affected the economy and how it has given an opportunity and a challenge that we should become self-reliant, and which has been a policy of our government even before this Indo-China clash at Galwan. The thrust has been that not only in the defense sector of course is very important where 70% of our requirement is met through imports. So we wanted to be self-reliant. In that direction, all new policies have been formulated and a lot of incentives have been given to our people. In fact, 100% subsidy has been a kind of participation in the FDI has been granted by the government to the foreign countries. So one more important step which has been taken at this juncture that boycotting the apps as well as the goods from China, because there was a big trade deficit, more than 58 billions, we were having the trade deficit, which cannot be believed. As far as the trade deficit was concerned, as well as the preparedness between 2004 and 2014 is concerned, we did not go ahead with the modernization at all. And that's how we got an opportunity at this juncture with the new government where modernization has taken place, and we are trying to use different methods for becoming self-reliant. Although self-reliance is started as early as, I should say, in the 50s itself, and in the field of defense in 1960s, that decade, we started with the humble start from the defense production side. We started replacing the components and thereafter we came to the devices, and then manufacturing of various weapons, equipment like tanks, etc., and even aircraft under license we had been manufacturing, and now we are designing our own aircraft. So kind of self-reliance in the field of defense is one of the paramount importance, because a lot of foreign exchange resources are frittered away by importing these things, and in the time of need we have to depend on others for support and sustenance. Now, diplomacy also is one of the important factor, and this is the diplomatic and military pressure combined together that has made China to retreat. But at the same time, as I said, we have to be careful and we have to continue in our efforts to see that China does not venture again into our towards our area, and they are not trying to settle the border disputes, and that's how they say and they claim their that that land belongs to them, that particular portion where they have come. So we have to be more vigilant in that and that area wherever they are, and in fact all along the border we should be prepared for those things. Although it involves a lot of expenditure, but that is worth it, because for the political, social, and economic stability and progress, we need that our border should be well defended, and that's how we have taken all these steps to indigenize the various things and facilities. Now, another opportunity which has come in our way is that all the countries, whether it is Europe, whether it is America, Japan, or anybody else, has stopped and has closed down their establishment, the factories and industries in China. This is the time when we can give concessions, take initiative to establish those factories and industries in our country. And it will benefit our economy, as well as it will give us technological advancement and advantage. Also, will become further independent in further production, design, and development of those things. DRDO is acting very well. Now they have achieved so many laurels. They have progressed in all the fields, whether it is Army, Air Force, Navy areas, or in other sectors as well. Now, one thing for our students, we can assure you all, you have big potential, and you must realize what potential you have. You are using only 10% of your total potential. You are a very strong force, and you are the future of the nation. You should come and join wholeheartedly the defense forces. May not be in combat, maybe in combat areas, maybe in different forms, and there are many ways where you can contribute toward the national security. And the message which I want to give today is that you must be free, frank, and united. Unity is the basic requirement. Otherwise, we have so many kind of people who have been against the Jason. We have so many who are against the nation and trying to destabilize. We have to remain cautious about their activities and nefarious designs where they are weakening our country. So not only we should be clear and fight the external enemy, we should be ready to weed out such people and such parties who are trying to destabilize us internally. At the same time, I'll urge our students who are very capable, be innovative. You can do, and you have done in the past, and again you can do, and you can make big contribution towards self-reliance of the country. Thank you very much. With these words, I close because the time is a constraint. Thank you so much. Jai Hind.
Thank you so much, Bajpayee sir. We will look forward to your words of be innovative. You can do it, and we promise you that the students of PSIT will do their best to live to the cause. Thank you, sir. Next in the line, we have Professor Gurmeet Singh, sir, Vice Chancellor, Pondicherry University. Good morning, sir. Gurmeet, sir. Gurmeet, sir.
So please unmute yourself.
Yeah, you have done it. Can you hear me now?
So let me introduce you, sir.
Okay.
Professor Gurmeet Singh, sir, he is a renowned academic administrator and an internationally reputed expert in the field of corrosion science and smart materials. He has taken over as the Vice Chancellor, Pondicherry University. He has held various positions like Proctor, Head of Department, members of Executive Council, and numerous other administrative positions in the University of Delhi, besides serving as OSD, Principal Deshbandhu College. He has been on high-level committees in the UGC, DBT, CSIR, and several other public institutions. He has held the positions of Proctor, Head of the Department, Member of Council in the year 2005-2010, and numerous other positions in the for Deshbandhu College at during the year 1997 and 1999. And he has written many research papers to his credit and has contributed to the society with his wisdom too. We welcome you, sir, to the forum, and we are looking forward to a great session from you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so very much,
Yes, sir.
Madam, for putting in some kind words about me. I'm very glad that your institution is organizing this webinar at a time when the whole country is passing through a very depressed time. Not only our country, in fact, the whole world is passing through a very depressed time. And it is these kind of webinars which will put our people back on track, and they'll come out of their difficult days. This kind of webinars will be one of those instruments which will kindle the right kind of sparks among our young minds. And the topic that you have decided on this, for this webinar, is a very apt one, that how India can become self-reliant and what are the steps probably which should be taken. Very respected Air Marshal Vajpayee Sahab and all other important guests attending this seminar, I wish a very good morning to all of you, and take this opportunity to appreciate your effort before I begin. And there was some technical glitch in joining, but then ultimately it got sorted out. When I joined a little later, of course, I was hearing Air Marshal Vajpayee talking about the credibility of Indian forces and about the steps that we have taken to guard our borders and what is particularly needed for our youth. And the message which he gave was, which I was very clearly, I could hear, that we should stand united. That is the, in fact, crux of the thing. Now, I being in academics, I would take you to certain other areas where I would like you to concentrate on. When we talk about self-reliance, people often tell me that what kind of a country we are in. We have not been able to develop any hill station. We have not been able to develop right kind of road network. You know, when we got independence, our aim at that time was to develop in three major areas. One was education, the other was to improve our health sector, and the third was infrastructure development. Now we went on, and the kind of steps our government has now taken, particularly in the last 10 years, have really resulted in amazing progress in all these areas. I'll quickly sum up because the time will be a constraint. You look at the education sector, the way we have gone around and the way we are catering to such a large force of students, the way from practically 10 universities in 47, now we have come down to about 900 universities in the country and about more than 40,000 colleges. The way we are doing and the amount of money that a student has to spend on education, it is one of the lowest in the whole world. That goes to our credit. And the education which is being imparted is a world-class one. Look at our IITs, look at our IIMs, look at our central universities. How good, how well we have performed, I think it is for anybody to judge. So this is one of the major areas where we have done exceedingly well, and we are continuing to do extremely well in this sector. We are updating our syllabi, we are updating our knowledge, we are updating our universities, the teaching systems and everything. And the result is for anybody to see. The result, when I say is for anybody to see, you look at our professionals who are found all over the world. You look at health professionals, they are all over. In fact, if Indian professionals are taken out from other countries, it will be very difficult for those countries to survive. So in addition to health sector, look at the education sector where we are helping other countries. Look at the IT sector, Indian, I call it Indian talent, of course, but otherwise it is information technology, you all know. The kind of force that we have, it is for anyone to see how things are moving with our help. And you'll be amazed, we say there are lakhs and lakhs of our Indian professionals who are outside. It is not so. The number of our IT professionals abroad is close to about 70,000. And this we have got, this is the result of a force which has developed out of 50% of these students who have actually in their formative years have gone to schools. Had out of this 50%, people have gone to this super specialty level and they have fanned all over, and we have done so very well. Now, if our number goes a little more, where we are now trying, you can understand where exactly we will be in 2 years from now. It will be more than self-reliant, in fact. Then the next important aspect which everybody needs to consider, particularly our students, young minds, how well we have done in the area of our food sector. Whatever I will, because of time constraint, I'm just leaving it as an exercise for everybody. You look at what we were producing in 47, what we were producing during Pakistan war in 65. Look at that data and how amazingly from that point onwards we have gone. And last 10 years, if you look at, every year we have been gaining in terms of production. And now our food grains that we are producing every year is so much that we are not able to store it properly. Now, the question that you must be raising is, well, the fields have gone up. It is not so. Fields have shrunk, agricultural fields have shrunk. The mouths to be fed have increased enormously. Our population has grown. So despite all that, having done so well, it is the result of a sheer hard work, sheer management of agriculture sector, sheer brilliance of our science and technology sector that has pooled their resources together, and we have now raised our production to such a level that we are not only self-reliant, in case of need, India is able to give it to others also. Look at the milk production area. We are the largest producer of milk in the world, which is amazing. You will be saying that the cattle have gone up. No, the number of cattle have gone down, the grazing fields have come down. But despite all that, we have done it so very well. It is the result of our policies, our management, from science and technology point of view, from the cooperative sense that we have introduced, from the way we have managed. India has become a force to reckon with all over the world. And the high point was when in America, if you look at the way they are improving and they're managing their dairies, American Dairy Association inviting Indian Dairy Association to manage their resources. I think this was the highest point in our achievement. So this is a line which we need to consider, that there is no problem and there is no way we will not be self-reliant. I'll put it this way. So this is another area which we need to be appreciative of. The other important area which I think everybody needs to consider is our space performance. The way ISRO has gone about, the way we have launched 108 satellites of late, we are getting our own data, we are getting our own communication network. All this put together has resulted in the best communication network that we are now having, all through our own means. All satellites are ours. We have even put the launchers where other countries are using our satellite launchers. They are paying rent to us. Could India be imagining this a few decades earlier that we'll be in this position? And if you look at the cost, very few people have done that. The way we have gone around, our satellites as compared to the other countries are at the lowest price level. The amount of money that we have spent on R&D is at the lowest. Despite all that, we have done exceedingly well, and we can be compared amongst the best 2 countries in the world in terms of our space program. This is another highlight which I thought I would mention. Now, you look at any area, look at the infrastructure development, the rail network we have added, the road network we have added, as against something like 3 kilometers being added in a day earlier. Now we are in a position to add about 30 kilometers in a day. Last 10 years, if you look at the data in terms of infrastructure development, I think it is amazing. We are making our own aircrafts, our own submarines, our own naval ships. You name an area where we are not doing so very well. The last point which you need to consider, and I want everybody's attention on this, is that the recent pandemic that we are faced, which we are still facing. Hopefully, we'll get over it soon. This particular pandemic, if you look at the way it came up, the way it rose, the way number grew up, the deaths grew up, I would draw your attention to the fact that if you compare the countries all over the world, in our country, the death rate has been one of the lowest. I'm repeating, in India, the death rate has been one of the lowest as compared to many other countries. You must be wondering, what is it? What is it? Are we having the best health system? We don't have. I mean, I agree. But look at the countries like Italy, look at the countries like Spain, United States. They have the best of everything, but still their death rate was so very high. I am drawing your attention to a very important point, and I'll take only a minute after this. Our death rate has been lowest because of the fact that in 1960 onward, we started giving BCG injections. So this vaccine regimen that we started, over the years we have been doing this. There was opposition to this. Many countries said, don't do this. We stuck to our own style, and we said that this will ultimately put us in good stead. That kind of a vaccine regimen that we started had developed a special kind of a resistance amongst our country fellows, and that has put all our countrymen in a position where they can face this Corona-19 much better as compared to other countries. Now, if you just carry out a quick comparison, Italy had a high rate of death, Spain had very high death rate, but an adjoining country to those is Portugal, which followed Indian style, Indian regimen, vaccine regimen. They followed a similar vaccine regimen because they were with us in Goa. And if you compare the death rate, Portugal's death rate has been one of the lowest in Europe. Germany, if you look at, you will say they were not following this. Their death rate has been slow because East German had followed our regimen, our style, and that is why the overall death rate in Germany has been low. That means we were in a position from the good old days that we chalked out our own path. We followed this. This has resulted our country having stood up against this pandemic in a much better manner, despite limitations that we have. So this goes on to prove that our system that we had in good old days was a proven one. And now also, if you look at the Unani medicines, Ayurvedic medicine, our own local medicines, which our villagers used to adopt, all these put together, which Indians are taking, is putting them on a platform where they have better resistance to face this pandemic. All this goes on to prove that we are on the right pathway where we can be better self-reliant. We don't have to depend upon expensive medicines. These homely medicines we are taking is putting us in good stead. So these are the things which will put India eventually in good stead, and we will be able to face these things. This pandemic we have faced much better, of course, but then in the years to come, in terms of education, health sector, infrastructure development, and all others, will put us in much better platform as compared to many other countries. And the biggest strength that India has, which all the youngsters who are attending to this webinar, the biggest strength our country has is the most vibrant democracy in the world. And that is what is a most important factor which everybody has to weigh, that it is our democratic traditions which will always put us on a very stronger wicket towards self-reliance. And this is what we need to strengthen further. We need to tell people that the traditions, the kind of unity we have expressed, such a diverse country, many languages, many religions, many areas, many styles, many conventions. Despite all that, in terms of any adversary, India has stood like a rock, one unit, and that is what is required in the days to come. With all that which I have said, I am very sure that there is no reason why our country will not be 100% self-reliant, Only thing is we need to keep our nerves with us. We need to hold our grounds, and I'm sure we are on the right track, and our country will be absolutely self-reliant in all areas sooner than what people are expecting. I'm grateful to the organizers here, Dr. Shivani Kapoor, whom I had the chance to meet earlier, and Dr. Vajpayee, of course, that you gave me this chance to share my thoughts in this webinar. I am giving these compliments because this is the right kind of an approach, because it will enable all the academicians and students and all concerned to come out of this depressing time, and will enable them to work with much more vigor to serve the society in the best possible manner. Thank you so very much. I wish the webinar a grand success, and God bless all of you.
Thank you so much, sir. The pleasure was indeed ours. We would looking forward to your visit to the campus, but somehow due to COVID-19, we could not materialize that. But looking forward to your, your stance in PSIT. We all are waiting for that moment to come in. Again, I would like you to hold with us till, because after every speaker speaks, we'll have a question answers round where I would like your benign presence again.
Thank you very much. I appreciate this.
Next in the row, we have Air Marshal R.K. Sheda sir with us. Good morning, sir.
Morning.
Dr. Air Marshal R.K. Sheda sir, he was the Air Officer in Charge Maintenance at Air Headquarters and Air Officer Commander-in-Chief, AOC in the Maintenance Command in Indian Air Force. For his distinguished service, the Air Officer was awarded Param Vishisht Seva Medal in 2020, Ati Vishisht Seva Medal in 2014, and Vishisht Seva Medal in 1993 by the President of India. We are extremely honored with your presence on the forum, sir. I would like you to take over and share your wisdom with us.
Thank you, Dr. Shivani, for your kind words. Good morning to you, all of the panelists sitting on today's panel. Our very senior Air Marshal Vajpayee, Vice Chancellor Vivek Singh, Kiran Chopra. Good morning to you all. It's indeed a pleasure for me today to participate in this particular seminar, which is Changing World Scenario and Self-Reliance. I can just say one thing, that our Prime Minister gave the slogan of Atmanirbhar Bharat. At the right time, when we have two things bothering the country. One, of course, is known to us. The COVID pandemic is causing a lot of problems for us. And second, certainly, is our adversary bothering us at the LAC. As a Marshal covered in detail, we had been facing both our adversaries off and on since 1947, and it is not coming to the end, be it the terrorist activities, be it the LOC, be it the LAC. That's what we probably have, and we would be continuing with that for some time. My take on this China issue had been that we need to have a strong approach. Certainly, the first and foremost is the diplomatic approach, where we sit across the table and try to negotiate, discuss the things out. Second, very important, is to have a tough military stance. The moment you are militarily strong, no one thereafter dares to come near you. And third, which is very, very important point on which today's seminar or the discussions in the webinar are, how do we handle our economic part? Because we know we have a huge trade deficit, amounting to something like $70 billion today, and we need to bring it down. And when you want to bring it down, the only way is that I stop acquiring the goods, be it low end, be it high end, all over whatever we are procuring from them, whether it's pharmaceutical stuff or it's various other electronic components, be it parts, be it systems. I need to reduce that particular import so that the trade deficit comes under control. And with that, you also will put pressure on the adversary to come and sit on the desk and talk to us. So with that three-pronged system, the third issue which I'm talking about, the economic measure, is what is the focus of today's particular webinar, as to how do we bring our deficits low by in-house manufacturing, by having more reliant systems in my own country where we don't have to go outside for various goods. So there is a huge asset which we can discuss. In fact, I'm happy Marshall as well as the Vice Chancellor have touched upon many areas. I will not take much time. I will focus primarily on one sector where we have a huge scope of doing a lot of work in-house. And that sector is the aviation sector, though it happens to be also my sector, where I've spent about 40 years in the military aviation areas and have been serving all over the country. And more so, I was last 5 years, I was engaged in the military aviation MRO kind of a thing, we handle in our base repair depots under the maintenance control. By the way, one of the base repair depot we have at Chakeri, and that's the one which was started by our first CNC, Vice Marshal Ratinder Singh himself. And the story goes back to the Second World War, having those British aircraft and converting those aircraft into fighter aircraft. So it's very important for people in Kanpur to understand what Kanpur has given to the Indian military aviation. Not only military aviation, even the civil aviation. Let me tell you, the first aircraft which was manufactured in-house in India was at Kanpur Chakeri. It's the Avro aircraft. In fact, that's the aircraft we still fly. For retirement in December, I was flying that machine which was produced in those days when AVM Harjinder Singh was there at Chakeri. So we are so proud in the Indian Air Force that we had been engaged in doing in-house work, not only manufacturing, but MRO as well. Now I'll just give a glimpse of our civil aviation sector, because that is where a lot can be done. The way we are expanding, like all of us we know, we're going to be next 20, 15 years. Our fleet sizes are going to go from today's 700 aircraft, they'll touch something like 2,000 plus aircraft. Years, our traffics, which is around 200 million, will touch around 1 billion. Air travel is going to happen. The MRO industry today, which is around 1 billion, is also going to go on maybe 2.5 years. So what it amounts is that two things which we have to look at in my country as far as the self-reliance is concerned with respect to the aviation sector. One, of course, is the manufacturing of the new aeroplane, the new radar system, the communication system, the satellite system. And second, whatever aircraft we procure from outside, be self-sufficient in doing our repair and overhaul. And that's where there's a need for us to focus. There's need for us to create that ecosystem in the country so that the MRO, the routine MROs, the major MROs, where today our aircraft of various airlines, they fly out to Singapore, they go to Malaysia, they go to Gulf countries for their overhaul. That is what must come back to us in our country. And we would be able to say that, yes, even if I bought the aircraft from outside, but I'm self-reliant as far as my overhauling is concerned, as far as my various checks are concerned. And our focus should be on two things. One, of course, is the indigenous spares, which we require for the MRO. And second, developing our HR skills. That's where our engineers, the students sitting today in the webinar must focus that this is one sector where if we have the right mind, and let me tell you, this aviation sector is the one where we need all types of engineers. Mechanical, we need electrical, we need electronics, we need radar specialists, we need computer specialists, we need armament specialists. So it's a huge area. The huge amount of metallurgy is involved in the aviation sector. So all our young blood must look forward to getting into this, make the country more and more self-reliant. As the military aviation is concerned, we talk about quite a bit about it. because that military aviation part is mostly the Indian Air Force and with the Defense PSU HAL. Traditionally, HAL had been doing the manufacturing, and we had been engaged mostly on the overhauling of various platforms, be it the fighters, be it the transport, helicopters. And not only the aircraft, we also had been doing repair overhaul of our radar systems, our missile systems, our communication. We have a huge number of success stories which we can talk about as far as the Indian Air Force is concerned. We had been the integrators and the driving forces behind developing a number of indigenous systems. Today, we feel very good about it. To name the LCA, today is a success story, and we had been right from the day one integrated in that, not only our requirements, which we call the SQRs, but also guiding the R&D department, and shoulder to shoulder, we had been there with them in development of various systems, testing. The most important thing is when you develop a machine, who is going to air test that machine? That's where the Indian Air Force is always there. So those are the testing times where it's quite difficult and those flights are risky. So coming to that, now we're going to, of course, move on to another advanced aircraft called MCA. We have pushed a huge number of networking in India, the communication systems for Air Force. We have gone into the guided weapons, the car systems, indigenous missile systems today. Gone about the BrahMos integration, one of the potent air to ground, air to air, and air to surface and naval version. We have been in that for integration on the Sukhois, the big achievement for us. Now we are involved in other missile development called Astra missile development. And of course, last but not the least, the big success story of our in-house repair overhaul, which we call the MRO. Today, we repair all our fighters in-house, all our helicopters, the transport aircraft. In fact, across the road in Chakeri, we have our base repair depot, which is engaged with the engine overhauls, as well as the aircraft productions. Our AN-32s are being handled there. So we are name a aircraft we have in-house MRO for that. And not only having the MRO, but other thing which we are very successful, we had been doing a lot in that, is the indigenization of all the spares which are required for the MRO. And we boast of 98% self-sufficiency in our fighter aircraft overhaul. For example, the MiG-29 we overhaul at Nasik. We have 98% in-house spares well. That we have created a good ecosystem around our BRDs to supply us all those spares. Now we have to be thinking of the self-reliance. So though in the military sector, quite a bit we have achieved in the MRO, manufacturing will start, the R&D is going on quite a bit. Though it's a long time, then we can say that, okay, today we are self-sufficient. This is where our engineers, our technicians must work. In fact, BRDs have started now doing an apprentice program for the ITI students. I'll just tell you how the foreign countries, they invest in the skill. When we bought the Rafale aircraft against the offset, we have work going on in Nagpur. You're surprised. The company Dassault, the French company, came all the way to Nagpur and they started a program in the ITI Nagpur on structures. Today, they are producing the ITI students who are working or who are knowledgeable or who are qualified on the aviation sector. This is how the Western world had been looking at the HR. And you're surprised, not a single ITI of my country offers course in the aviation sector. So this is how we have to approach, we have to look at it. This is one area where a lot can be done. And we have to tell our students, look this sector very seriously, because as we know, there's one sector where there's never going to be a downfall, and that is the transportation. The automobile, aviation, aircraft side, or level, the shipping or ocean side. So it's a huge opportunity there, and I'm only confident with this our aircraft numbers increasing from today's 1,500 machines in the Indian Air Force. Soon, another 10 years, 15 years, we'll be touching about 2,000. And when the number goes up, parallel to the civil aviation, as the Air Force number goes up, huge amount of huge amount of in-house repair work will come to us, huge amount of spares indigenization will come up. The third area where I just touch upon is the space program. Another huge opportunity to be self-reliant. As in fact, Professor Gurmeet was talking about, the ISRO is a great success. Now with the country coming out with a program called In Space, announced just about 2 weeks or 3 weeks back, a lot of private industry, the MSMEs are going to jump into the sector of space programs. And we have a lot of opportunities in that. Once again, the students must be aware of these challenges and the opportunities which are going to be there in the civil aviation and the military aviation and in the space programs. So these are the thinking which we must focus on. And a huge amount of armament, huge amount of guided weapons programs, the radar programs. So name a thing, our students can look into it and get specialized into that. Their masters must be in those specific areas so that when they come out after the MTech, they are qualified engineers. And one thing which we have to remain focused upon, no country can be a great country unless it has the manufacturing sector strong. The services sector will not make any country a great nation because services is not what ultimately will bother you. Today, if I have a trade deficit with my adversary, the trade deficit is not because of services sectors. The trade deficit is because of manufacturing. So my engineers who are passing out, they have to focus today. Unfortunately, a large number of my engineering community, even after doing the masters, when I was studying in IIT Kanpur, half of my own course mates of MTech, they never went near the machines. They went away. They went into the areas of banking sectors, and there probably it's a white collar job, and everyone wants to make big money also. But let me tell you, the country can only progress. I can be only self-reliant if my engineers, if my skilled manpower is working on the hardware and creating the things, because that is what will thereafter produce or give you the sector called services sector. This is what I always go wherever I go and talk to the students, whether it's Punjab Engineering College or it's IIT Kanpur or wherever. I always talk about that I need to retain my expertise in the sector which is most crucial. But you cannot make dams, you cannot make those big things sitting in our rooms. We have to go out. We have to go and stand in the sun to create those platforms. So with these things and thought processes, I would like to wish the PSIT all the very best and have a very successful webinar. And I'm sure we would continue discussing on that. My visit also was due. I was supposed to come in April, and because of COVID, I could come. Definitely, I'll be visiting soon because we have a huge study there, as well as I have my own Almata at Kanpur where I'm going. So it'll be a pleasure to come and see. Thank you very much. All the very best.
Thank you, Shrira, sir. The pleasure was all ours, and we are also looking forward to your visit at PSIT. And it gives me immense proud when I say that yes, Kanpur Chakeri was the first air station which gave the first indigenous aircraft. And we are proud Kanpurians also, and proud PSITians, and proud Indians also. Next in the row, we have Mr. Kiran Chopra ji, Chairman and Managing Director of an Indo-German joint venture based in Lucknow, Chopra Retech Rubber Product Limited, and a former Chairman of CII's UP Council. He has been a member of the Indo-German Chamber of Commerce, Managing Committee of Jaipuria School, Managing Committee of Vivekanand Polyclinic and Institute of Medical Sciences, and a founder member of Hope Initiative, an NGO which promotes health through schools and colleges and global Lucknow. We welcome you, sir. Good morning.
Thank you, Dr. Kapoor, and my very eminent and decorated panelists. The pleasure and an honor to be a part of the panel. I represent the manufacturing sector, so we've had different views and different perspectives. An academician, two gentlemen from the armed forces. So I am from the manufacturing sector, so I probably tick one of those boxes, which I think makes India Atmanirbhar. Yes, we have all been going through this unprecedented, it's been a cliched word, unprecedented, but it has been a transformational phase in our lives, whether you take it economically, emotionally, mentally, and even physically. I think all of us have experienced something we've never done before. So as we gradually get back to normal, and in fact, this is a very new normal. And believe me, Corona is going to become a part of our lives for quite some time going forward. So it's till the last man is disinfected, which may take several months or maybe years, the infection will always be somewhere close. So it is up to us to either live in fear or just follow the rules and guidelines and protect ourselves and go on with our life. I think that is the only approach that works positively. And I think we all need to follow that dictum. It is also an established fact that uh, more people in developed countries died out of ailments which were an outcome of a fear psychosis. And we need to get that feeling out of the way, first of all. And God forbid, if you are infected at any time, just follow the rules. Take a break, get yourself quarantined, and get back thereafter. So there is nothing to be living in fear of. If you remember, post 9/11, we all cribbed about the several layers of security that were created everywhere, wherever we went, whether it was a hotel or an airport. But we got used to all of that as a part of our lives, didn't we? And so even now, wearing masks or sanitizing, hand washing, avoiding touch and feel will be the new normal. And you will have to do this for the sake of the elderly of your homes and your respective families. So what are we looking at? We are looking at three situations post-COVID. The almost 3 months or two months of inactivity and now running into the third, something none of us have experienced in our lives. Slowly getting out of the lockdowns and coming to terms with issues on a day-to-day basis, even looking at possibilities of resurrecting our businesses with all the challenges that are likely to be faced. This is a scenario we have never experienced before. And of course, the future. Will our business models survive? Will we need to reinvent and change our business model? If so, what will be the new opportunities? So obviously the students who are part of the university and who are watching this would like to know how lives in the business community will change going forward. One thing is for sure, the way we run our businesses will completely change. Every business has its own challenges and advantages. But certain aspects will be across businesses because of this pandemic. So let me share a few of them. Digital, the way we are having this webinar, I mean, it's becoming convenient for everybody now to sit wherever they are and become a part of a webinar. So digital will be very much a part of what we will do in our everyday lives. If you break Corona into three sections, I mean, the Corona regime into three sections, which is pre-Corona, during Corona, and post-Corona, we will see a new normal as far as digital usage is concerned. So knowledge about digital technology is going to be a huge part of careers in going forward. We were using about 20% digital before. We are now using almost 80-90% digital, and we will probably stabilize at about 50-60% digital. So digital is here to stay. And that's another area which I think the students can look at from the career perspective. At the same time, not that these were not existent before, but we were forced to adapt and adopt these, and we have to go forward doing this. So efficient communication and possibility of doing this from home. Today, a work from home culture is becoming a way of life for a lot of technology-based companies. So that's the new normal. So going forward, we all have to reinvent also. I mean, we have to innovate, remodel our businesses to stay relevant, because if you don't do this, there are always success stories in the business community post an event like this, and there are failures. So we have to, reinvent, otherwise we will fall behind. We always say it is the survival of the fittest, but that does not hold true. to a large extent because I feel to be a winner today, in today's context, it has to be survival of the quickest, because the quicker you adapt to a situation, the better it is in terms of the success you achieve. For manufacturing, and as rightly mentioned by Mr. Shera just now, manufacturing is something that is an integral part of any economy. If you take the statistical analysis of 17 of the fastest growing economies of the world, all of them grew because their manufacturing sector grew. If we break down our GDP of the country in terms of contribution to GDP, agriculture and industry are contributing only about 20% each. A large part of the contribution to GDP comes from the service sector, which is really a dichotomy, because if 50% or more people live in the rural sector and contribute only 20% to the GDP, this needs to change. And of course, industry and agriculture have to work together. A little while ago, one of the panelists mentioned that we are the largest producers of milk. Yes, we are. We are the largest producers of milk. But how much value addition do we do? Does our cheese get exported to the rest of the world? No. Only producing milk is by itself not an achievement if we don't add value to what we are doing. And here is where industry has a role to play. So value addition and upgrading to global standards is a must. And for manufacturing, these standards are, we call them Industry 4.0 standards, and that is the need of the hour. We were already working on this, but with this pandemic and the Atmanirbhar dictum, we have to press the fast forward button and get there much faster than we imagined we could. Let me assure you, of course, that because I am from the manufacturing sector, I've been there, done that, and I believe that Indian manufacturing can do a better job than anyone in the world in pretty much any aspect of manufacturing. We just need to believe in our ability and invest in what other countries have done, and that is scale. If we take our example, as a company based in Lucknow, we manufacture automotive components made out of rubber. I am proud to say that we are a true example of being Atmanirbhar. We import nothing and we export everything that we manufacture sitting right here in Lucknow, and we export even to the likes of China. So that speaks speaks volumes of how capable Indian companies can be. It is unfortunate that we exist in silos and we are not integrated as a manufacturing nation. So this must change. Then, of course, there are some businesses which are perennial in nature, which did not get so badly affected during the pandemic. And these are, businesses which are in the area of healthcare, food, and education. In fact, I feel that healthcare could be the next IT. If you saw the revolution in the IT sector, healthcare can be the next revolution in terms of the business possibilities in the country. So now we're looking at what are the new opportunities that will emerge in adverse situations like this. And we have to learn from the past, of course. It is for us to spot them and act very, very swiftly. And it's doable. A case in point is the overnight capacity we created in the country for PPEs and masks. I mean, in a matter of weeks, we were off the ground and we got ourselves away from the dependency of import. So we have it in us. We have proved it time and time again. But of course, we need to do it as an integrated team of manufacturing. So opportunities in healthcare, telemedicine, digital platforms is probably something you could look at. Of course, there are some very, very badly challenged businesses now, and I can name a few: airline, hospitality, restaurants, hotels. I mean, they will have to ultimately come back. And here lies an opportunity for young startups to think of ideas on how to get these businesses back on track. Of course, in a new avatar, probably with pluses and minuses to change some business models. But I think that is a huge opportunity for young minds to think in those directions on how to quickly resurrect these businesses. Yes, they will come back maybe a year, 6 months from now, but before they go into sickness, there have to be solutions that have to be found. So, as I mentioned earlier, no one can wish countries like China away overnight. It is not going to happen. I mean, we talk of completely shunning things away, but we have to accept that they are too deeply entrenched in almost every major economy of the world. However, we also know, and the world knows, that after USA and China, India is the only large economy which has the propensity to grow exponentially to match the scale and diversity of the global supply chain. And herein lies the opportunity for the government to create policies and reforms to enable this and get the world supply chain away from its dependence on China as it has been seen. And of course, the sentiments work in our favor. Another example I'd like to share with you about Indian manufacturing prowess. The market leader of motorcycles in Europe is not BMW. It is a company called KTM, which is part owned by the Bajaj Group. China is slipping fast, not only in the manufacturing of bikes, but also in the manufacturing of other two-wheelers. Indian suppliers are beating them hands down, whether it is the motorcycle or the components. Three Indian companies, Hero, Bajaj, and TVS, and of course now Honda in India today, they dominate the world motorcycle market. China did try at some point of time to enter the Indian market with their motorcycles, but were driven out of the Indian market very quickly. So I would like to just conclude by saying that this is our sweet spot. And you, the students, are the ones that will have to realize India's dream of being Atmanirbhar. We have all the talent. We have the entire ecosystem now working towards being Atmanirbhar. So we have the ingredients and we have the resources. All we need to do is act together. And I do feel that if we have living examples in our country of having achieved global excellence, both in scale and quality, why should we not do it as an integrated measure as a manufacturing community? Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. We are pleased to have enlightenment from your side. It was indeed a very fruitful session from you. And definitely through this forum, I would like to extend my invite to you to visit sometime to PSIT. It is in your own city. And definitely, we want our students to be benefited with your advices also. Next in the row, we have Mr. Umang Mishra ji with us. He is an associate editor for Dainik Jagran, iNext. He heads all 12 editions of Dainik Jagran, iNext that are located in UP, Bihar, Jharkhand, and Uttarakhand. He has a long experience in the field of journalism. He has worked in various newspapers and news channels before joining Dainik Jagran Group. He joined Dainik Jagran Group in 2012. He has written many editorial pieces on different topics. He has a deep understanding of political scenario and working of different institutions, including government. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much for your kind words. And it's a pleasure to be here in the company of such renowned speakers. And as far as topic is concerned, our self-reliance, self-reliant India, mean आत्मनिर्भर भारत, तो इस पे हमें अगर बात करनी हो तो पहले तो ये क्वेश्चन है कि आत्मनिर्भर भारत तो हमेशा से ही रहा है, बोलचाल में बातें होती रही, इसी समय क्यों आया, एकाएक इतनी चर्चा क्यों हुई इसकी? तो पहली बात तो ये इम्पोर्टेंट है कि ये पीएम ने जो संबोधन किया था कोविड के संदर्भ में, तभी ये बात सेल्फ रिलायंट इंडिया की फिर से आई जब उन्होंने बोला है कि आत्मनिर्भर भारत की हमें जरूरत है और हम बनाएंगे। इस समय ज्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट ये इसलिए हो गया क्योंकि दो पर्सपेक्टिव से इसे देखना पड़ेगा। एक चाइना का इनकर्जन जो कि लद्दाख की तरफ था, और दूसरा कोविड के वजह से इकोनॉमी में जो नुकसान हुआ है उसकी वजह से। अब इसको दोनों चीजों को हम इसी आत्मनिर्भर भारत के थ्रू ही टैकल करने का लक्ष्य है, जिसकी वजह से ये बात उठी है इस समय। अब बात इसमें ये है कि हमारी जो इकॉनमी है उसमें पहले तो ये आत्मनिर्भर भारत का मतलब क्या, वो क्या पर्सपेक्टिव दे रहे थे, क्योंकि टर्म तो बहुत पुराना है। इस समय क्या पर्सपेक्टिव है? इस समय पर्सपेक्टिव आप इस तरह से समझिए कि हमारी जो इकॉनमी है वो किसी पर डिपेंडेंट ना हो। हम यानी हम अपने प्रोडक्शन के लिए डिपेंडेंट किसी दूसरी कंट्री पे नहीं होनी चाहिए। एग्जांपल मैं आपको ऐसे दूंगा कि आपने ये देखा होगा कि अभी इंडिया ने जब चाइना को सबक सिखाने के लिए ऐप्स बहुत सारे कैंसिल कर दिए कि अब इंडिया में ऐप्स नहीं चलेंगे, लेकिन आपने ये देखा होगा कि बहुत सारी चीजें ऐसी हैं जिन पे को टच भी नहीं किया गया। इसलिए नहीं किया गया कि उस जगह हम मजबूर हैं इनपुट्स के लिए चाइना से। इसका एक सबसे बड़ा एग्जांपल है कि जो हमारा दूर संचार टेलीकम्युनिकेशन सेक्टर है, इसमें चाइनीज कंपनीज बहुत ज्यादा एंटर कर चुकी हैं, जैसे हुई वगैरह हुई, एचटीटी हुई। इन कंपनीज को अमेरिका ने रोक रखा है 2018 से कि आप हमारे यहाँ नहीं इन्वेस्ट कर सकते। हमारे यहाँ वो हैं, हम उन पर बैन भी नहीं लगा सकते, क्योंकि हम अगर लगाएंगे तो हम आप जो इसमें वेबिनार कर रहे हैं इसको करने में भी दिक्कत आ जाएगी। तो ट्रांसमिशन प्राइवेट कंपनीज हैं, उनके इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स यूज करती हैं। तो जाहिर सी बात है कि ये बात बहुत गहरी है और बहुत ज्यादा इस दिशा में किए जाने की जरूरत है काम। जबकि हम स्लोली स्लोली सेल्फ रिलायंट इकोनॉमी की ओर जाएंगे और उन जहां से चैलेंजेस जहां से हैं वहां से हम उनके अल्टरनेटिव्स क्रिएट करेंगे। इंडिया में कैपेबिलिटीज बहुत ज्यादा है, इसमें तो किसी को कोई शक नहीं है। बहुत सारे गेस्ट ने बहुत सारे एग्जांपल्स भी दिए, हम लोग जानते भी हैं इन चीजों को। इसलिए हम उन एरियाज को मैं टच करने की कोशिश करूंगा जिसको कि ऑलरेडी डिस्कस नहीं किया गया है, और शायद वो उतने मतलब फ्यूचरिस्टिक बातें होंगी ज्यादा कि हमें करना क्या चाहिए। देखिए, दो चीजें करनी चाहिए। एक तो करनी ये चाहिए कि जो पास्ट में अगर पॉलिसी लेवल पे कहीं कोई चूक हुई है तो उसका कोर्स करेक्शन करना चाहिए। और हम क्या कर सकते हैं इंडिविजुअल लेवल पे, हम हैं जो स्टूडेंट्स बैठे हुए वो क्या कर सकते हैं, वो उनका अलग रोल है कि वो कैसे इस दिशा में काम कर सकते हैं। तो पहली बात हमें ये समझनी पड़ेगी कि जो अगर आप चाइना की सिचुएशन देखें, चाइना क्या करता है। चाइना, आप इस बात को बिल्कुल यकीन मान लीजिए कि चाइना इस समय इस दुनिया का सबसे और शायद अकेला इंपीरियलिस्टिक कंट्री है। वो एकमात्र देश है, जबकि पूरी दुनिया, जैसा कि मोदी जी ने कहा कि ये विकासवाद का युग है, विस्तारवाद का युग नहीं है, लेकिन ये एक अकेला कंट्री है जो आज भी एक्सपेंशन के चक्कर में लगा रहता है। वो चाहे इंडिया हो, चाहे भूटान से इसके विवाद हो, चाहे उधर हांगकांग पे मानवाधिकार छीन ले या ताइवान पे नजर गड़ा ले, ये एकमात्र ऐसा देश है जो अभी भी विस्तारवाद में लगा हुआ है। और इसका विस्तारवाद सिर्फ और सिर्फ जमीन तक नहीं है, या ये सबसे बड़ी इसकी खासियत ये है कि ये युद्ध नहीं लड़ता है, ये बिना युद्ध लड़े ही विस्तारवाद कर लेता है। वो इसलिए क्योंकि ये हर समय एट वॉर है, जिसको एहसास भी नहीं होता कि हम एट वॉर हैं और चाइना आपके साथ एट वॉर होता है। वो ऐसे होता है कि वो आपकी इकोनॉमी में घुसपैठ करता है। कितने सारे कंट्रीज में इस बात के एग्जांपल्स हैं कि जहां चाइनीज कंपनीज के इन्वेस्टमेंट्स हुए, वो वहां इन्वेस्ट करती हैं, उस पोजीशन अपनी बनाती हैं, उसके बाद उस कंट्री में जाकर के उसके सिस्टम को करप्ट करती हैं, वहां के एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन को, गवर्नमेंट्स को, इन सबको करप्ट करती हैं, वहां के पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज को करती हैं। बैन लगे हैं इनके ऊपर बहुत सारे यूरोपियन कंट्री में कुछ कंपनीज के ऊपर। और आपको जान के ताज्जुब होगा कि बहुत सारी कंपनीज जो कि बाहर ये काम करती हैं वो सारी की सारी सरकारी कंपनी है चाइना की, मतलब गवर्नमेंट से एडेड कंपनीज हैं वो। यानी चाइना जो इकोनॉमी में जो इन्वेस्टमेंट्स करता है दूसरे कंट्रीज में, वो सिर्फ और सिर्फ प्योर इकोनॉमिक नहीं होते, वो स्ट्रेटेजिक भी होते हैं। यानी कि चाइना को कोई भी इजाजत देने से पहले हमें सोचना पड़ेगा कि इसके इम्प्लीकेशंस क्या होंगे। एग्जांपल आपको हम एक देते हैं कि 2011 से पहले दूर संचार सेक्टर जो हमारा है उसमें चाइना को इन्वेस्टमेंट देने के लिए लोग तैयार नहीं होते थे आसानी से, क्योंकि सबको पता था कि ये खतरनाक है, डाटा जा सकता है हमारा इसमें। तो हमें ये भी देखना पड़ेगा कि हमने जो रेड कारपेट बिछाई है ऐसे कंट्री के लिए, उसको हमें वापस समेटना पड़ेगा, जिसपे काम शुरू भी हो गया है, जिसपे कि मोदी जी ने बोला भी है काम हो रहा है, लेकिन हमने इतनी ज्यादा कारपेट बिछा दी है कि वो एक दिन में समेटी नहीं जा सकती है, उसमें टाइम लगेगा। यानी टाइम लगने के लिए बहुत सारे सेक्टर्स में जहां उनकी जरूरत नहीं है उनको पहले बाय बाय करना पड़ेगा, इसकी भी शुरुआत हो गई है कि रोड हमारे देश में कौन बनाए, इसके लिए चाइना की क्या जरूरत है, हम अपने देश में यहाँ के लोग नहीं बना सकते। सिर्फ इसलिए कि वो बिडिंग करते हैं, उनके इंटेंशंस ऐसे हैं कि हमें यहाँ पे हर सेक्टर में कब्जा करना है, वो ऐसा टेंडर करेंगे कि आपकी इंडिया की कंपनीज उसको नहीं कम्पीट कर पाएंगे और उन्हें टेंडर मिल जाएगा। तो ये बहुत सारे उनके पास कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स हैं, आज की तारीख में भी कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स हैं, जिसमें सिर्फ नितिन गडकरी जी के डिपार्टमेंट ने उनके सारे कॉन्ट्रैक्ट कैंसिल कर दिए कि अब वो इंडिया में कोई रोड नहीं बनाएंगे। अदरवाइज बहुत सारे डिपार्टमेंट्स में उनकी कंपनीज को दिया गया इन्वेस्टमेंट है, उनके कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स हैं, तो उनको धीरे एकदम से हम बंद भी नहीं कर सकते, ऐसा दूरसंचार का मैं एग्जाम्पल दे रहा हूँ। तो यानी हमें सेल्फ रिलायंस अगर बनना है तो उन सेक्टर्स में गवर्नमेंट के लेवल पे ये करना होगा कि अपने लोग जो अपने बिजनेसमैन हैं, हमारे जो अपने उद्योगपति हैं, उनको थोड़ा सा प्रोटेक्शन देना होगा, क्योंकि आप एक कमजोर आदमी को, एक पहलवान को किसी बच्चे से नहीं भी लड़ा सकते हैं। अगर वो जानबूझ के बड़ा इन्वेस्टमेंट लेके आके बेहतर टेंडरिंग कर दे रहे हैं, तो इसका मतलब अगर आप सिर्फ ये सोचेंगे कि हमारे इस काम को ये आदमी सस्ते में कर रहा है, इसको दे दें, तो सही नहीं होगा। यानी हमें उन चाइना को रिप्लेस करना होगा इंडस्ट्री से। इंडस्ट्री में भी ऐसे कि जिसके कंपोनेंट्स चाइना से आते हैं, वो बहुत बड़ा चैलेंज है कि वो कंपोनेंट्स सस्ते पड़ते हैं। जाहिर सी बात है, उस जगह पे एकदम से रोकने पे क्या होगा कि हमारी कॉस्ट बहुत बढ़ जाएगी चीजों की, जिसकी वजह से गवर्नमेंट तुरंत कोई डिसीजन नहीं ले पा रही उस चीज के बारे में। लेकिन हमें स्लोली अपनी क्षमताओं को बढ़ाना होगा, चाइना को रिप्लेस करना होगा। और दरअसल हमारी जो इकोनॉमी है उसमें सिर्फ चाइना वहीं रहे जहां से वो हमें नुकसान नहीं पहुंचा सकता, या हमारी कोई चीज हमको उसको अफेक्ट करने की स्थिति में नहीं आ सकता। इसलिए सेल्फ रिलायंस बहुत जरूरी है, जिसके लिए मोदी जी ने बात उस दिन नारा दिया था। लेकिन ये सिर्फ नारा न रह जाए, इसके लिए काम सरकार को भी करना पड़ेगा, हमें भी करना पड़ेगा। जैसा कि भी हमारे गेस्ट शुरू में बता रहे थे कि इंडिया में टैलेंट की कोई कमी नहीं है, पूरी सिलिकॉन वैली इंडियंस के बल पे चल रही है। तो आप उतने लेवल पे ना जाइए, आप खाली अभी का देख लीजिए, तुरंत जो कोविड आया था, कोविड के समय इंडिया में एक पीपीई किट नहीं बनती थी, और 1.5-2 महीने के भीतर इंडिया में इतनी पीपीई किट बन रही है कि हम उसे एक्सपोर्ट कर सकते हैं। हम मास्क, पीपीई किट, सैनिटाइजर, आप अपने शहर कानपुर में देख लीजिए, जो लोग डिफरेंट इंडस्ट्रीज में जिनकी थी वो दूसरे काम कर रहे थे, उन सारे लोगों ने इस बीच में जरूरत को समझते हुए अपनी इंडस्ट्री में सैनिटाइजर, मास्क, पीपीई किट बनानी शुरू कर दी। कानपुर में से बहुत सारे लोग आपको मिल जाएंगे, और उसका प्रोडक्शन बहुत ज्यादा बढ़ गया। यानी इतनी फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी इंडिया में कानपुर जैसे शहर की इंडस्ट्रीज में है। तो आप ये समझ सकते हैं कि हमारे पास क्षमता क्या है, पोटेंशियल क्या है। इस इंडिया में बहुत ज्यादा पोटेंशियल है। सबसे बड़ी बात है, हम खुद भी एक बहुत बड़े मार्केट है। हमें कोई जरूरी बाहर जा, ऑब्वियसली एक्सपोर्ट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, बट हम खुद भी अपने इंडिजिनियसली काफी बड़े मार्केट है जिससे दूसरे लोग अट्रैक्ट होते हैं। यानी हमें प्रोडक्शन अपना करना पड़ेगा, बढ़ाना पड़ेगा, अल्टरनेटिव डायरेक्शंस में अपना प्रोडक्शन स्पेशली बढ़ाना पड़ेगा, और गवर्नमेंट को उसमें हमें सपोर्ट करना पड़ेगा, हमारे इंडस्ट्रियलिस्ट को, उद्योगपतियों को, जिससे कि वो चाइना को सेक्टर से बाहर कर सके, उस जगह से। तभी ये चाइना की जो पॉलिसीज हैं कि पहले इकोनॉमी में घुसो, उसके बाद बॉर्डर पे प्रेशर बनाओ, और उसके बाद अपने पास रह जाएगा, ये हमें समझना होगा कि चाइना, जब हम लोग बिल्कुल खुश थे, चाइना से फुल इन्वेस्टमेंट चल रहा था उनके ऊपर, उस समय भी वो बॉर्डर पे तो अभी आए गलवान वैली में वो, लेकिन उनके इंटेंशन वही तब भी थे जब वो वहां नहीं आए थे। उनके इंटेंशन पूरी आसपास सारे पड़ोसियों के साथ यही रहते हैं। हमने गलती की है, हमने गलती जो 1962 के आसपास की थी, वही गलती फिर हमसे हुई है इस बीच में। हमने उन पर भरोसा कर लिया जाता, इस बार इकोनॉमी में कर दिया। तो इसलिए जरूरत अब इस बात की है कि हम चाइना को तो रिप्लेस करेंगे ही चीजों से, अपने इंडिजिनस, अपनी इंडस्ट्रीज को भी मजबूत बनाने की जरूरत है। दूसरी बात, हमें इन्वेस्टमेंट्स, जो फॉरेन डायरेक्ट इन्वेस्टमेंट्स होते हैं, हमें एफडीआईज में फर्क देखना पड़ेगा। हमें देखना पड़ेगा कि ये वेस्टर्न कंट्री से आया इन्वेस्टमेंट है या ये किसी ऐसी कंट्री से आया इन्वेस्टमेंट है जो जानबूझ के इन्वेस्टमेंट करता है उस देश को कंट्रोल करने के लिए। चाइना का बहुत बुरा ट्रैक रिकॉर्ड है। चाइना ने पाकिस्तान में जो रोड बना रहे हैं, वो तो इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर ही बना रहे हैं ना, पर प्लस क्या वो इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर के लिए बनाई गई रोड है या किसी इकोनॉमी अपनी मजबूत किए जाने के लिए रोड है? नहीं, वो इसलिए की जा रही है कि उस जगह स्ट्रेटेजिक इंपॉर्टेंस अपनी वो बना रहा है। जाहिर सी बात है, हमें समझना पड़ेगा कि हमारे लिए जो कंट्रीज हैं उनकी कहाँ से कौन सा इन्वेस्टमेंट क्या है। हर इन्वेस्टमेंट को हम बराबर नहीं कर सकते। ये तो गवर्नमेंट लेवल की बात होगी। अपने लेवल पे जो हम लोग कर सकते हैं, स्टूडेंट्स आपके कर सकते हैं कि ज्यादा इनोवेशन करें, ज्यादा डाइवर्सिफाइड फील्ड में सोचें, और खुद भी सेल्फ रिलायंट बने। एक सेल्फ रिलायंट प्रोफेशनल, अगर जो आत्मनिर्भर प्रोफेशनल है, वो ही नींव है इस आत्मनिर्भर भारत की जिसकी बात मोदी जी कर रहे हैं। यानी कि हमें हर एक इंडस्ट्री को आत्मनिर्भर करना होगा, हर एक प्रोफेशनल को भी आत्मनिर्भर करना होगा, उस दिशा में काम करना होगा। टैलेंट की कोई कमी नहीं हो, यही जनरेशन इस चीज को कर सकती है, निश्चित रूप से कर सकती है। इंडिया ने रियलाइज भी कर लिया है इस समय, और ऐसी उम्मीद करते हैं कि गवर्नमेंट इस दिशा में काम करेगी। और एक बात भी और अच्छी कही थी मोदी जी ने कि आपदा में अवसर होते हैं। तो दरअसल ये जो कोविड वाली क्राइसिस आई है, इसने पूरी दुनिया की इकोनॉमी को बहुत ज्यादा नुकसान पहुंचाया, जो कि कोई अच्छी बात नहीं है। लेकिन होता क्या है कि जब चीजें बहुत ज्यादा खराब हो जाती है, तो वहां से जो नई शुरुआत होती है, उसमें जो बेटर इनोवेट करता है, जो बेटर ज्यादा एग्रेसिवली सोचता है, ज्यादा बेहतर सोचता है, उसके पास मौके होते हैं। ये कोविड क्राइसिस शुरू होने से पहले इंडिया की इकोनॉमी 4% के आसपास जीडीपी थी, यानी कि बिना कोविड के हम कोई बहुत अच्छी स्थिति में नहीं जा रहे थे। इस कोविड की वजह से इकोनॉमी हमारी निश्चित रूप से गई है, लेकिन बाकी पूरी दुनिया में पैटर्न चेंज हुआ है। जैसे कि आप देखेंगे कि चाइना से लोग भागेंगे। अब आने वाले समय में क्या होगा? आने वाले समय में चाइना सिर्फ इंडिया का ही दुश्मन नहीं है, पूरी दुनिया को समझ में आ रही है उसकी करतूतें। कोविड भी उसी की देन है, वो एक अलग बात है। वो उसकी कंट्री से इन्वेस्टमेंट हटेंगे जो यूरोपियन कंट्रीज ने कर रखे हैं, वो हटेंगे। इंडिया उसके लिए एक जगह बन सकती है। हम बस बात यही करनी है, इन्वेस्टमेंट जो भी इंडिया में हो, उससे यहाँ पे जॉब क्रिएशन होंगे। चांसेस हमारे पास इकोनॉमी को अच्छा ग्रो करने के इस समय है। साथ में हमारे जो जिसको बोलते हैं ह्यूमन रिसोर्स है, इंडिया को ह्यूमन रिसोर्स पे बहुत काम करने की जरूरत है। जैसे कि एक गेस्ट बहुत अच्छी बात बोल रहे थे कि जाहिर सी बात है कि हमें अपने जो स्टूडेंट्स हैं या इंजीनियर्स हैं, इनकी जरूरत पड़ेगी। इनकी जब जरूरत पड़ेगी तभी हम उतनी बड़ी उस चीज को काउंटर कर सकते हैं, इकोनॉमी को ढंग से ग्रो करा सकते हैं। यानी हमें एजुकेशन सेक्टर में इन्वेस्टमेंट की बहुत सख्त जरूरत है। हमारे पास एजुकेशन सेक्टर में इन्वेस्टमेंट जितना ज्यादा होगा, जिस उतना ही आप समझिए हम इनडायरेक्टली अपनी इकोनॉमी को मजबूत कर रहे हैं, क्योंकि जो वर्क फोर्स हम क्रिएट करेंगे वो दरअसल हमारी इकोनॉमी को स्ट्रेंथन करेगी जाकर। तो हमें अपने एजुकेशन सिस्टम को मजबूत करने की जरूरत है, हमें अपनी इकोनॉमी को, इंडस्ट्रीज को प्रोटेक्ट करने की जरूरत है, हमें चाइना से सावधान रहने की जरूरत है, हमें इन्वेस्टमेंट में फर्क करने की जरूरत है, हमें इन्वेस्टमेंट के साथ इंटेंशन का फर्क करने की जरूरत है। और ये सारा काम गवर्नमेंट को भी करना है, हमें भी करना है, आपको भी करना है, स्टूडेंट्स को भी करना है। एकदम से कुछ नहीं हो सकता। हम ये नहीं कर सकते कि हम अपने घर के सारे चाइना की चीजें निकाल के फेंक देंगे तो मोबाइल आना बंद हो जाएगा। मोबाइल आप नहीं यूज करेंगे, जिस कंपनी का सिग्नल रखा है वो तो यूज कर रही है, क्या कर सकते हैं? जाहिर सी बात है, स्लोली इस प्रोसेस को काम करना है, चीजों को समझना है, विजन को समझना है, दिशा को देखना है कि आने वाले समय में एक्चुअली हमें क्या करना है। और ये गवर्नमेंट के लेवल के से लेके इंडस्ट्री के लेवल के, स्टूडेंट्स के लेवल पे, हर लेवल पे हमें आत्मनिर्भरता के लिए काम करना पड़ेगा। वो आत्मनिर्भरता चाहे एजुकेशन सेक्टर की हो, इंडस्ट्री की हो, या खुद एक प्रोफेशनल की हो, जो कि वो इंडिपेंडेंट हो, इनोवेट कर सकता हो, अपना स्टार्टअप लगा सकता हो और 10 लोगों को और जॉब दे सकता हो। और समय बहुत कम है तो हम बस इतना ही कहेंगे। आंसर सेशन, थैंक यू वेरी मच सभी को, और कोई क्वेश्चन पूछना चाहे पूछ सकते।
थैंक यू सो मच उमंग सर। आपका बताया हुआ मार्ग हमारे बच्चों को जरूर उनका मार्गदर्शन करेगा और सही राह दिखाएगा, और उम्मीद करते हैं कि हम एक बेहतर देश के रूप में उभरेंगे। थैंक यू सो मच सर। मैं आप सभी गेस्ट से रिक्वेस्ट करूंगी कि कुछ देर हमारे साथ बने रहें, क्योंकि हम थोड़ी देर में क्वेश्चन आंसर्स राउंड शुरू करेंगे। I'm very much delighted to announce that our MD ma'am, worthy MD ma'am, has taken up time from her busy schedule, and she is there with us in the forum today. To give her a brief introduction, let me tell you that she is an alumnus of Loreto Convent, Ms. Shefali Raj, MD, PSIT Kanpur, and she is a postgraduate in commerce. She has pursued her fashion and textile designing, and she has been an YWCA member and a first degree Reiki healer. She knows Braille and has received appreciation from Blind Employees Welfare Council, Drug Addict Rehabilitation Organization, and UNICEF. She is the founder of Speakwell, the lifestyle school. Along with this, she serves as a managing director of PSIT Group of College, president of Earth NGO for Education and Development of Girl Child, and vice president of National Human Resource Development. She is a recipient of a medal by the Governor for Excellence in Education and has been awarded as a career guru by a reputed media house. She contributed actively in formulating a strategic roadmap on public-private partnership in education in association with India Today Group. She works on UP CM Shri Yogi Adityanath's dream project to develop UP as a preferred destination for talent mining in the country. She has been active in the field of education for the last 25 years now. She has handled leadership roles for her own ventures, Speakwell and PSIT Kanpur. She has been trainer to reputed organizations like PepsiCo, Pantaloons, HBTI, Kanpur University, Institute of Chartered Accountants, Kanpur Municipal Corporation on life skills and leadership development. She has been invited to deliver talks on the forum like India Today, Dialogue India, IUP, NHRD, Wiki Flow, TEDx, and dozens of conferences. She has been associated with PSIT group of colleges for over 8 years now and has been instrumental in completely transforming the brand image of the organization. In her role as an MD, she has built domain expertise in different areas of HR like workforce planning and recruitment, placements, training, corporate relations, organization development, employee relations and communication. She is a strong individual who loves to balance her passion with profession assured to her and to learn guitar, sing, drive, and play basketball. And she's a great source of motivation for people like me. We welcome you, ma'am. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much. In fact, when the time was being set for the webinar, Shivani ma'am checked with me and I had already committed the same time to somebody else. And I'm sorry for barging in actually, but then I didn't want to miss the opportunity of interacting with all of you today. So I'll take a couple of minutes and I'll put across my views on this so much talked about topic. So at a time when the world is suffering from this deadly pandemic, India plans to convert this crisis into an opportunity and strengthen its fight by becoming Atmanirbhar or self-reliant. So this term we all know was coined by our Honorable Prime Minister of India during his address to the nation on 12th, 2020. And he called this campaign as Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan. He also defined 5 pillars of Atmanirbhar: economy, infrastructure system, demography, and demand. He stressed upon the fact that it is time to become vocal for our local products and make them global. So under this campaign, a special economic package has been released by the government, which will benefit various segments, including cottage industry, micro, small, and medium enterprises, laborers, middle class, and industries, among others. So education is one of the focal areas of Atmanirbhar Bharat. So the proposed reforms could lead to a positive shift in the quality of education. Let's hope that happens. So currently, even though we live in an era of online education, digital accessibility even today is an issue. So we know that. So even the remote locations have, in fact, the cities have this problem, forget the villages. So also according to Deloitte and Give India report, which I was studying a couple of days back, there is an acute shortage of qualified teachers. We keep grappling with this problem day in and day out at PSIT. So while the best teachers cannot always reach the grassroots, digital content can. That's a blessing. So with a multi-channel approach to combat these issues, now TV channels can run educational contents for classes 1 to 12. I mean, it sounds pretty exciting. This will be supplemented by radio and podcasts, which are becoming actually very, very common. So with this, the grassroots network of government schools should be viewed more as learning zones rather than training institutions. So edtech companies can chip in by customizing the content to the local context. So like KPMG report says, about 15 lakh students will be looking to enroll in higher education in this academic season alone. It's humongous. So allowing institutions to provide online degree was actually a much awaited reform. So pacing with the developed countries, thereon students from the remotest and poorest of backgrounds will have access to the best learning content. Moreover, what we need is capacity building for parents and teachers to engage with this new form of learning. I think every home today with children are grappling with this. So government has launched PM E-Vidya, a program for multi-mode access to digital online education. So this National Foundational Literacy and Numeracy mission is to be launched by December 2020, is what we say. And we've heard. And to ensure that every child attains learning levels and outcomes. So like we say, you know, like the previous speaker, Wangji said, that difficult times, you know, something good comes out of it. And like we say that every cloud has a silver lining, so this pandemic. We've come to a point where, you know, all of us need to introspect, align ourselves to the ever-changing times. I think we've done a fabulous job in aligning ourselves to a very, very large extent. Let's hope that something good and very constructive policy comes out from the government and it is implemented equally well. So not taking more of your time, I'd like to thank the speakers. Bajpai sir, thank you very much. You are one face that we always look forward to as a support to the college. Professor Gurmeet Singh ji, thank you very much. We were expecting you at the college, but then this pandemic came as an interruption. But we'll all have you once at PSID things get back to normal. Air Marshal Shera ji, thank you very much for accepting the invitation. Mr. Kiran Chopra, thank you so much. Just a message on WhatsApp. You were kind enough to accept this invitation. It is a pleasure to hear you. Mr. Umang Mishra, thank you very much for sparing your time to address our students. Congratulations, Dr. Shivani Kapoor and your team for putting up this webinar and accepting my last minute entry. Thank you very much. Namaste.
So, ma'am, it is always a pleasure to have you among us. It is like a blessing showering on us.
Appreciate it.
That is, we are humbled to have you with us. Once again, I thank all the guests on the forum. Before moving up to the question answers round, I quickly wrap up the rounds, the sessions that you people have taken up. We started with Professor R.C. Bajpai sir, who threw light on the war with China in 1962. And then he told about the conditions there in China where Mr. Jinping is somehow facing a rebel in his own country. And he brought out the importance of unity. He said that it is the basic requirement of the time. And we need to be innovative, we need to be conscious, and we have to believe in ourselves that we can do it. Then we moved to Professor Gurmeet sir, who talked about self-reliance in various sectors. He talked about education, health, infrastructure. He even threw light on IT sector, and I got a new word from him today for IT, that is Indian talent. So thank you so much for that insight also. Yes, India is full of insight. This is what he brought into knowledge, that India is full of talent. It is just that we have to explore that and we have to use that talent in the right direction. We have been doing well in the space. We have been doing well in the infrastructure. Many of submarines, naval ships, they have all been, started manufacturing indigenously, and we have to be cautious of the recent developments also. He also told us that the death rate has been the lowest, and it has been because we have been using BCG vaccine, which has somehow created or developed immunity system within ourselves, and we have become much stronger to face this pandemic. Then Shera sir, again, he talked about the trade deficit, and he talked about how aviation sector can lead to more of it. And he told that, yes, we have already been doing good as far as indigenization of Indian aircraft is done. And in fact, he told that first was done in Kanpur only. And then he threw light that around 2,000 bus aircraft system, radar system, that these are the transport sector is one sector where we can do tremendously well. And he quoted the examples of various companies also. And to add to this, Kiran Chopra sir joined in and he spoke, yes, in transport sector, China has been trying his hard to enter, but then big giants like Bajaj, Honda, Hyundai and others, they have not been allowing it to come in forward. And this is how we have to stand firm and united in front of the foreign powers to somehow come to the realization of the dream of self-reliance. We have to, like Kiran Chopra sir told us, that we have to reinvent and train our business models also. And digital will be the part of all sectors now. And digital is the new normal now. And we have to focus on manufacturing sector. This has been quoted by all the guests here, that though agriculture and manufacturing is the sector where people are involved at large, but then it is contributing only 20% to the GDP. This has to change. Like when Gurmeet sir said that milk is an industry where we can, really do well, because India is the largest producer of milk. Then Kiran sir added to it that, but this can be done only through value addition. We have to set up our manufacturing sector to the global standards, and this is the need of the hour to change the need of the society, and somehow we can be big giants in the supply chain model of the world. Then Umang Mishra ji also joined in, and he told us, yes, this is all good. We all can do it, but it cannot be done overnight. It is a long process. The initiation, we have already initiated the process, but then the policy has to change. We have to look into the strategies of the government also. Then only we be able to dream it. And the one quote that he said, "हमने लाल वो red carpet इतना बड़ा फैला दिया है कि उसको समेटते समेटते थोड़ा time लगेगा." And let's see, we could do it someday. Though it has to happen only when we all stand united and stay calm and do it all strategically. Then our worthy MD ma'am joined in, and again he told that, yes, she told that education is one sector where we can do miracles. Qualified teachers are there, but somehow digital SS is one thing where we need to focus on, so that we all could come to this new normal again. And we have to adjust to this new normal, and that is how we can contribute to the society and to the nation also. Thank you so much, everyone. Now we'll take up the questions that are there with me from the students and from other people also. So for my first question is to Bajpayee sir. Sir, the question asked here is that how the current political scenario of the Youth Asian region will place India in the next 5 years?
Difficult to comment on the political aspect, but certainly the things, the way they are going and the way we are developing our national security issues, social development, economic development, this process must continue. The people who are opposed to this kind of developments, they have to be taken care of, and we must concentrate on development, all aspects of the development activity, whether it is in the field of economics, whether it is in the field of health, social activity, any other issue. Now, as far the defense forces are concerned, they are doing very well. We have taken the initiative during the past about 7-8 years that we are modernizing our forces, whether it is MRO and other activities, DRDO activity, everywhere we have taken initiative, and above all, the willpower and the decision-making ability of the present government. And I wish this political kind of decision continues, where the defense forces have been given a free hand to ensure the security of the nation, who are proud of our decisions, and certainly our forces are capable of tackling anywhere, anytime, and protect our motherland. So the political scenario, if it continues like this, and I wish it continues, but how it changes, well, the future will tell. But as anticipated, it will continue because good work is being done, and people have come to realize that this way only we can develop in all spheres, whether it is economic, social, or otherwise. Thank you.
Now, one student, Ashfia Rahmani, she is asking a question to Kiran Chopra, sir. Sir, she's saying that what, according to you, could be the best possible step to take in order to make a revolution in the field of healthcare in the coming years? And why, like IT sector, it can be more effective than that?
Yeah, I think it's a fairly wide-based question. But yes, see, the health sector in the country, if you look at, let's say, I'll give you an example. There are 60 million people who need surgery in the country. Only 20 million are able to get the surgery. So if you look at the gap between access to healthcare and the availability, and the other part is the affordability. So we have several, health insurance options, whether it is Ayushman Bharat or even otherwise. But I still feel that the Indian citizen is deprived of affordable healthcare. And that is why when I said digitization today, that telemedicine is something just like education. You can reach out to anybody in any part of the world, and through the use of digital technology, not only just advise the patient about what he or she is going through, but also analyze the problem, the health problem that he or she may be undergoing the challenge of. So there are going to be devices going forward where the use of IT and technology and digitization are going to be hand in glove as far as the creation of that technology is concerned. At the same time, if you look at the IT sector, again, the IT sector has, like every other sector, has innovated, reinvented, and recreated models to adapt to situations at hand. You see, I mean, it is unfortunate if we talk of scale. In India, we are always way below global standards. I'll give you an example. Our total IT industry in India is $200 billion. And if you add recently acquired $70 billion by Reliance Jio, so it's about $270 billion. This is the entire strength of the IT industry. If you compare it with one company of China, Tencent or Alibaba, they are more than twice the entire market capitalization of the IT industry in India. So that is the gap between scale that can be and that presently is. And which is why I feel, and I strongly believe, that the use of IT and adapting it to various sectors, including education and healthcare, will probably be the game-changing inputs that the industry can provide going forward. If there is any specific question related to the health sector, I'll be happy to answer that also.
Right, sir. The questions are still pouring in. As soon as I get something on health sector, I'll turn back to you. Next in line, one question is there for you, Gurmeet sir. The student says that India still do not produce items like electronic chips. Even the developed nations like America and Russia do not share the technology openly. How do you suggest we can aim for self-reliant India in these situations? Gurmeet sir, are you there? Okay. Shera sir, can you take up the question? Okay, Gurmeet sir, you need to unmute yourself. Deepak sir, Gurmeet sir needs to be unmuted. Deepak sir?
Well, I can take on this question.
Fine.
No, Gurmeet sir is there. Yes, sir.
You see, the question of taking up this, Indian industry was doing very well. It was only when the onslaught of Chinese company came in for a while in between that we gave up. We said, well, they are giving cheaper products. Why should we go in for this kind of, allow them to do it? So in a way, we shed that idea of doing everything ourselves. We said, when they are doing it, let them do it. This is what has now come to the understanding of Indian manufacturers, that we are also capable of doing this. Why depend upon them? Why give them importance? We can do it ourselves. So if they take it up now, I think they can develop as fast as well as other companies have done it. It's a question of timings. They were doing it, we thought, let that be done and we can make use of that rather than doing it ourselves. But now they will, once they start, I think we'll come up in the best possible way.
Thank you, sir. There's one more question. Let's see who can take it up. The child is asking, can the current Indo-Sino-Sikhism better India's chances for permanent seat at UN Security Council?
You want me to answer or one of the air marshals to be?
Shira sir, can you answer this question for us? Sir, you need to unmute yourself. Shira sir, you need to unmute yourself. Yes, sir.
Yeah, see the question of United Security Council, the permanent seat. You cannot link it with the aggressive thing which is happening on the LAC. Definitely, we qualify for that, and we must be bidding ourselves, not taking this as a kind of a shelter for that. And we should be becoming the permanent member in that.
Thank you.
No, I would like to chip in here.
Yes, sir.
You see, India has never pursued its foreign policy that aggressively the way we have done it in the last 3-4 years. Now, if you look at the scenario, all over Africa and in many other countries, I'm talking about smaller countries in particular, that they have now started looking up to India as a country which means welfare of other nations. We don't have expansionist designs. The kind of position we are now in, we need to follow it up in a very aggressive manner all over the world, which India is doing now. And we can be in race for a permanent position in Security Council. If we do a little more effort on this, I think it's not a very difficult thing to get.
Right, sir. Right, sir. Now, Umang sir, um, how self-reliant India vision will be achieved when there is an information asymmetry with respect to the central and state government, which can act as a roadblock on the ease of doing business, particularly in the sectors like manufacturing, healthcare, and agriculture. What is your view on this, Umang sir?
I don't think there is any block of information between state and center. They are well connected, and we are working as a common goal. If you see this pandemic, during this pandemic, you can see fantastic coordination of dealing this problem.
Yes.
So if a common goal is set, then it can be achieved in our present structure. We have federalism in our country. It means central government and state government both have their duties. So everything has to be done in coordination with the governments. So I don't think we have any flaw in our
Right, sir.
structure that we can't achieve that. Actually, and for
So, Kiran sir,
just pursue that. That's all.
So, Kiran sir, again, in line with the same question, when India embarked on liberalization, privatization, and globalization during 1990s, that is LPG, then why the concept of self-reliance rubbished by the governments at that point of time?
Because I think, when we had the first stage of reforms, there were, you see, priorities changed. From the time we became independent, we started with roti, kapda or makan. After that, it was bijli, sadak and pani. So, these priorities kept shifting, and then the reforms came. And then we started to become a part of the global economy. At that time, we were focusing on developing the infrastructure for human resources, for healthcare, for education, and for the infrastructure of the country. At some point of time, the reforms opened up to not just invite foreign investment and foreign technologies, but also to become part of the global economy. So over the years, I feel that we have moved much ahead of those initial stage reforms, and we are looking at today, thanks to COVID, we have suddenly realized the need to become a bigger part of the global world in terms of the supply chain. And there are few things that I mean, there are 2 or 3 aspects to India's future, which I feel we must realize. One is that we have to accept that science fiction is now reality. And geography is history, because there is no such thing as geographical boundaries anymore. And the fact is that no country can exist in isolation. So these are facts that are transforming the policymakers to reboot their thinking. And the pace at which these policies will now come will be much, much faster than we have seen in the past few years. So, I mean, as an example, what happened in terms of technology in the first 30 years happened in the next 20, happened in the next 10. And now we are down to changing generations of technology in a matter of months. So that is the pace of change that we are looking at. And perhaps in hindsight, I mean, you and I probably will be seeing just a part of it, but all the students who are studying in institutions like yourselves, like yours and others, are probably going to see that pace of change in the next 10 years. And it is going to be a phenomenal change. You cannot exist in a world where you have a 9-to-5 job. You have to work harder, you have to slog harder, you have to adapt faster. And as I mentioned earlier, when I was asked to speak, I think it is not going to be survival of the fittest. It is survival of the quickest, which means the faster you adapt to technologies, the faster you are able to shift gears to change according to needs of the world. That is how fast you will adapt to the new changing world.
Thank you, sir. MD ma'am,
I want to put up more point.
Yes, sir.
If you allow.
Sure, sir. Please do. Please do.
I want to put a point here, if you allow.
Sure, sir.
Actually, one thing should be very clear in the minds, that self-reliant economy doesn't mean isolated economy. This should be very clear. Isolated economy is not expected. It is not possible in this world.
Right.
Actually, we need to be self-reliant in terms that we are not dependent on other countries, that they can influence us. That is self-reliance. It's not that we are going to be isolated from the world.
Yes. Yes. MD ma'am, a question for you also. What are the key 5 important things that a startup must undertake in present situation? Deepak sir, you need to unmute, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
All right. So entrepreneurs, like Kiran sir just said, it's about being very quick. So I would term it as agility. So there has to be extreme agility. We do not have time to stop and think for a very long time. So it has to be very, very quick. The whole system needs to be very agile. The government needs to support entrepreneurs. So it's high time that the government takes everything very seriously. Single window clearances is what we say. There should not be red tapeism. Everything has to move very, very fast. Everybody has to understand that innovation is the key. So you have to innovate. So the other day I was in a webinar with CSA University, and I was delivering a talk, and I told the students there that jugaad is something that, you know, India has been known for. And please don't feel ashamed in saying, you know, this is a jugaad technology. I feel that's sowing seeds of innovation. So innovation, constant, correction and moving forward is something that an entrepreneur needs to do. Forever skilling, updating one's skill sets is something, again, very, very important. The points that want to survive as an entrepreneur, you need to be sitting on your toes and working. So it is no longer restricted to time. It's 24/7. We have no time actually to rest if you want to sail through this difficult time. So this difficult time actually is a very big opportunity for us to actually innovate and come out strong.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And we know that you're working in that direction for PSIT also. Yesterday only, we have seen one innovation here in PSIT, a PSIT product being launched. We'll talk about it later when we are going to commercialize it. My next question is to Gurmeet sir. Rupees 20 lakh crore as announced in Indian Central Package for Economic Revival and Self-Reliant India consist mainly of loan schemes. But countries like China provided land, electricity, water and shed when they initiated similar movement ages ago. How do you suggest government should move in line with the proven policies?
Government is doing a very right move. They are encouraging industry, they are providing loans, they are providing money. They are the best thing that needs to be done at the moment, and which they have started now, that single window services and a quick permissions. You know, we are all saying that many companies will move from China and they'll move outwards now. That's a fact. They are all going to move out, but then we need to provide them the right kind of services. If somebody comes here and takes 50 days to get a license, I think they'll be all disgusted. So our government is now moving in this direction, that they are sort of extending a welcome to the companies, that you come over here and all facilities will be extended to everybody so that they can set up their ventures here. This is a very important factor, and our Indian government is now looking into it, which I think will put every company in good stead.
Thank you, sir. This was a question which was with respect to the government. Now, Umang sir, I have one more question, which is asking me that what could be the key important thing that an individual need to do in present time in his personal capacity What should an individual do right now?
First thing is that is very important for everybody, for every individual. Then one should learn new skills. First thing, things are changing, especially digitally. Things are changing. We are doing webinar. I don't think we were. I attended webinar before that ever. So things are really changing. Everyone should be prepared for new challenges, new innovations, and prepare himself for the new technology, new ventures, new directions. One needs to be digitally more active, more informed. That's all one can in every field actually.
Right. Thank you so much, sir. Bajpayee sir, एक बार फिर आपको तकलीफ दूंगी, क्षमा चाहती हूँ. Now the question is, what are the pillars of self-reliant Indian movement, and which pillar affect the most?
Which pillar?
Affect the most.
Self-reliance is paramount, as I said earlier, for the development of the nation. And for the self-reliance, we have to identify the basic product. A question was asked a little while ago about manufacturing the chips in our country. Chandigarh had a factory there, and that factory got destroyed in a fire, and thereafter we have been depending on other countries. Now I'll quote you a simple example. I needed one chip. I tried from USA. By mistake, they had given my rank also in that. So they asked hundreds of questions and they didn't give that. Right from Singapore, it was not available. Right from European countries, not available. Finally, I got that chip from UK. By some means, somebody was coming and he brought that chip. Now, this is the basic building block. Now, we have to, and from there, of course, I could develop something which I wanted to do. The question is, if you want to be independent, self-reliant, the basic building blocks have to be started from there. Now, pillar, if you are asking for, of course, there are many factors. You need economy, you need government support, you need water, electricity, road, everything. But what is needed most important that your dedication and perseverance. If you take up a project of self-reliance, you carry on with that. It can't be a 9 to 5 job. It has to be 24 hours, all 7 days, 365 days in a year. And only then you can succeed. But it has been little, I'm sad about this one, that people take various projects as just kind of something as a profession, all right, but they don't deliver those things in time with the money which has been granted to those people. So the time overshoot and the money overshoot, the financial, whatever has been granted to these people, that should stop. So that means perseverance. The most important pillar is that your decision making and dedication and identification of the project, and thereafter your own capability, and go ahead with that. Don't lose your courage. You have your confidence level, okay, your knowledge must be there, and only then you can succeed.
Thank you so much, sir. Shera sir, this question I think I would like you to answer. The child is asking, will the spirit of self-reliance work against for FDIs by different nations?
Not exactly. You see, what happens when the government, let's say, announced in the defense sector that the FDI is enhanced from 49 to 74%. This mean that the whole Indian job is handed over to the company abroad. What it calls for is that, yes, there are deficiencies in our technologies. We are aware, I'm talking about the defense sector. There are niche technologies, there are still gap in what we have in India and what the people abroad have. So when we say the FDI is enhanced, all we're looking at is that please come, do the manufacturing here. We will be having our own skilled people here. We will be making use of our own resources. So you bring minimum resources from abroad and you come and set up the industry here. For example, we want to make the aircraft. We would like now onwards to get the aircraft from abroad and get them manufactured here. Yes, of course, there will be some amount of technology which they will not share, the high-end technology, where we'll have to work, where our institutions, the academia, and the R&D, the industry, the spangle has to function and keep coming out of it. But FDI per se is not going to be the roadblock for self-reliance. This is what it might be.
Thank you, sir. Though I have a lot of questions in my list, but looking into the time constraint, this is the last question I'll be asking, and this question is for Kiran sir. Kiran sir, since PSUs are considered inefficient and sluggish for the competitive globalized scenario, do you suggest that India should shift towards PPP models aggressively in the race towards self-reliant India?
Yeah, you see, Prime Minister Modi himself once said that the government has no business to be in business. And which is true, because when these PSUs were created, that was the need of the hour. And today, gradually, the government has a very finite disinvestment program. In fact, they have a separate department which looks after disinvestments. And therefore, they are getting out of those businesses where, for example, airline, and there is even telecom, where they have not grown as much as the private sector has. And they are gradually getting out of those areas which the private sector can manage and deliver better. And this recognition is happening over the last few years. And at the same time, I feel there are several sectors and several PSUs which the government, for example, in the defense sector, while private sector has been opened up, we have companies, government-run private sector companies like BEL or BHEL and the likes, where their role, because of the huge infrastructure they have created and the wealth of technology they have built into these PSUs, and these are a lot of them, like even HAL for that matter, these are non-profit organizations. They contribute to the safety and the defense of the country. And they are using, I feel that whatever comes out of these PSUs is world-class in nature. And therefore, these PSUs must continue to do what they are doing. At the same time, while some PSUs will be disinvested, there are a lot of private sector companies which will work in tandem with PSUs, because if it is for the larger good of that particular sector and the welfare of the country.
Thank you so much, sir. Before I hand over the mic again and ask Jufisha to take over, I would request all the participants here to switch on their video so that we can, have a glimpse of all those who are here with us in this webinar today. So I request all the participants in the webinar to kindly switch on their videos so that we could see you physically, and we can, have a short recorded for us. So Deepak sir, please do the needful.
Yes, ma'am. I've unmuted them all. People can unmute themselves, and videos can be switched on at their end.
Deepak sir, can we see all of them together?
Yeah, sure.
So, Jufisha ma'am, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
So you can start with the proceedings. In the meantime, Deepak sir will be doing the needful.
Thank you so much to all the speakers and Shefali ma'am for giving us an insight on how we all can come together in groups and individually and take small steps for making India self-reliant and make a country stand out in the global market. I would now like to request Dr. APS Bhadoria, Dean, PSIT College of Higher Education, to come here and give a vote of thanks. Sir.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I feel privileged to extend my vote of thanks in front of such a esteemed panel. I first extend my gratitude to Air Marshal Bajpayee sir. Sir, we are really thankful to you. We find your support never lasting. You at this age, you are really a source of motivation for all of us. Whenever we approach, you are always ready. You have never seen the time or the condition. You always there to support us. Thank you so much, sir, for all your support. My sincere gratitude to Professor Gurmeet Singh sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Pondicherry University. He is so generous. We met him in Delhi, and he is so generous that he immediately said, whenever you will call, I will be there. And we just messaged him, sir, we are organizing a webinar, and he given his acceptance. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
My sincere gratitude to Air Marshal Sera sir. Sir, thank you so much. You are so humble, so simple, being retired from such a senior post from Indian Air Force. And your thoughts are really insightful and thought-provoking. Thank you, sir, for sparing time for our students and other delegates. My sincere gratitude to Mr. Kiran Chopra, sir. Sir, I am really touched by your simplicity and humbleness. The way you communicated is really, I even communicated to Director ma'am also and even MD ma'am also, that he is so simple, so humble. I am really touched, sir. Thank you so much. And the thought you have given is really very motivating and guiding for our students. And we would like to have you in our campus someday when the things gets normal, and when we will have a live session of yours in our auditorium. I definitely feel that our students will get a guiding light from you. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
I thank Umang Mishra, sir, from Jagran I Next. The only one message, and he said, okay, I'll be there. Thank you so much, sir, for your simplicity and the proactive approach, your positive attitude. Definitely, you have given a lot of insight that China not only invest, they strategically invest. There is always a strategy behind their investment. So we need to see their strategy. Thank you so much, sir. We will be in touch with you, and we would like to organize your talks for our students in our campus. My sincere gratitude to our chairman, sir, who is always there in all our endeavors. And I extend my heartfelt gratitude to Ms. Shefali Raj ma'am, our MD, for her never-lasting support and constant motivation. Ma'am, you are a constant source of motivation for all of us. Whenever we have approached you, you not only said yes, but you have provided all the support which comes from, which is in your possible hands. And even you have been instrumental for getting Kiran sir and Umang sir in this webinar. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your constant support.
Thank you so much. My pleasure.
Thank you.
I sincerely thanks our director, Dr. Shivani Kapoor, ma'am, a lady I have seen in my life who leads from the front, a source of great motivation, a very tough worker, believes in working in odd hours, in odd conditions. I do also believe that, but she is leading from the front. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much. We are proud to have a director like you for our team. Thank you, ma'am.
Pleasure is all mine, sir.
My sincere gratitude to our dynamic HOD, Ms. Garima Gupta, ma'am. She takes the thing so smoothly. She paves the path for everyone, whoever is associated. Thank you, ma'am, for organizing such webinars. I thank Prabhakar Singh Tomar, sir, who is coordinating this webinar. Very well coordinated, sir. Very well organized the things. Thank you. My sincere thanks to Deepak Srivastava, sir, our senior faculty member, who is always there for relaying all these webinars and guest talks. Thank you so much, sir. My thanks to Jufisa ma'am, who is so kind, so simple, always ready with yes, sir. Yes, ma'am, it will be done. That should be the attitude I see from all youngsters. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you so much, sir.
My thanks to Pratibha ma'am, a similar kind of lady, a good faculty as well as a good human being. Whenever we approach with any task, she always says yes. Thank you, ma'am. The last moment support given by you. Last but not the least, I thank Binte Rasool ma'am, our admin officer, for her constant support. Whenever we approach her, she is always there to support us without saying anything. And my sincere thanks to all the participants, faculty members, delegates from other institutes, other part of country. I hope you have learned a lot from all the thought-provoking insight given by our esteemed panelists. And it will not only be a simple learning in life, but also we are going to implement in our life and make our country proud that yes, we have the potential, we have the capability, we have the will to stand on our own feet. At the last, I would like to thank Dr. Abhishek Vastav sir of Network sir and his team, Vikas Sahu sir, who are always ready to support us, and due to their support, we are able to relay this program live on our Facebook page and YouTube channel. Thank you everyone once again. Thanks, I thank again once again all esteemed panelists who have spared their valuable time and graced the occasion. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
And Deepak sir, before we all leave the meeting, take a shot of all the participants present here.
On the first panel, we can see most of the yes, we can see more of the participants on switching their videos on. We have taken the snapshots of all these three panels which are there, and all those who have yet not switched their videos on, they could not be, their screenshot could not be taken. Rest all of them have been taken now.
Thank you very much.
Thank you to all the panel members. Thank you, Shefali ma'am. Thank you, Shivani ma'am. Thank you, Bhadoria sir, Garima ma'am, all the faculty members, students, and all the participants, external participants, for your cooperation and joining us in this webinar. Thank you very much. Now with this, we would like to conclude this webinar. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.